That's so lovely, lovely. I would love this after the gig if she came up to us and she went, she's a real prick, actually. That'd be lovely, that's lovely. And Miss, can I ask your name? No, yeah, I can see, you can see us, yeah, I'm right here. I'm Deej, very nice to meet you. Can I ask your name, Miss? Lynn, very nice to meet you, Lynn, very nice. Are you a fan of Game of Thrones, Lynn? Lovely, I am as well. Do you like the books? You haven't read all the books yet? Nobody has. Everyone does. Do you listen to audiobooks? Yeah, I love audiobooks as well. Are you listening to any at the minute? What's your favourite one? DC Rhyme, it's been enjoying. That's lovely, that's lovely. Well, I'm a big fan of audiobooks as well. My favourite is colouring. What I'd like to do is just before we bring everybody on today as well, because you guys seem lovely, I'm just going to tell you one of my favourite jokes before we get started, right? Okay? Do you guys like impressions? Great. I do different impressions of different creatures and animals. I'm going to do an impression of one, and I want you guys to guess what it is. Okay? Anyone? It's not a whale, it's a Geordie the Buffet. That's my favourite joke. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to welcome our first act on the stage. What I normally tell people is that the more fun that you guys have, the more the acts will relax, the more fun they're going to have, and we're all going to have a lovely time today. Start your day off in a really good nice way. I want you to start stamping your feet, clapping your hands, give all your love, energy, positive attention to the fantastic Stuart Sharpe!
How you all doing? You alright? Yeah. Thanks very much, firstly, for putting up with me when I was giving flyers out there. See a few in, thanks a lot. Tell you a wee bit about myself. I'm in a mixed race marriage. My wife's fucking English. I was having a look around Edinburgh there. They've got the same problem as every other town centre. I notice it with all the big town centres around the country. They're all flying about, aren't they? You're told not to feed them, because it just makes them worse. And they're classed as vermin nowadays, aren't they? So I've had a gun and shoot the bastards, because I hate them. I'm not talking about the pigeons, I'm talking about the wee chavvy bastards on the e-bikes and the e-scooters. You see them flying about, all walking about like 10 men, thinking their hard as out about the size of a pepperami. Couldn't find sleep, could they? Why do they always get their hand in their pants, Jess? Why do they always, is that what they keep their gun nowadays? Is it like that? Come on, shoot it. I'll tell you a wee bit about myself. I was brought up in the 70s. We didn't have the same nonce or paedophile. We didn't have any of that. We had a Catholic priest and your weird, creepy uncle. And the thing is, he wasn't really your uncle, he was just a friend of the family that somebody says, oh, it's your uncle, and you're like, huh? And we had Uncle Tommy. And my mum used to take us round to Uncle Tommy's house because she felt sorry for him, and she'd say, go and sit your Uncle Tommy's knee there, Stuart. I'm like, no, I don't want it, Mum. Stuart, go and sit your Uncle Tommy's knee. I don't really want it, Mum. Stuart, go and fucking sit your Uncle Tommy's knee now. Well, can you tell me to put his pants on first, please, and get rid of his hard on? I was brought up in the 70s and 80s, anybody else in here brought up in the 70s and 80s? Do you all remember the Sunday bath? That was on the day you got a bath, was a Sunday. If you usually don't know that's the gospel truth. You only got a bath on a Sunday, and we don't share the same water, so we had. And the pecking order for the Sunday bath was oldest to youngest. Now that wouldn't have been bad for some people, but I was the youngest of 6, so you can imagine the state of the water by the time I got in the fucking thing. There was all sorts floating about in there. There was big chunks of dead skin. There was toenails. There was dead seals. I once saw Greenpeace protest that our plug hole the water was that contaminated. It was disgusting. Apology, ladies. Mind you, it was even worse if my brother had done a wank in the bath before I got in it. I was like, hey, what's that here? Is that conditioner? I'm going to try some of that in my hair. Jesus fucking Christ. That wasn't the worst thing in our bathroom, no. There was worse than that in our bathroom, believe it or not. We had a cloth that hung over the side of our sink. And everybody get washed with that cloth Monday to Saturday. The top and tail cloth, my mum used to call it. Do you remember that, madam? Go and get washed with the top and tail cloth, she would say. Or as I like to call it, the fanny flannel. You see, by the time my mum and my four sisters washed their fannies with this thing, well, to be honest, it smelled like a fucking fish mother's welly, so it did. It was disgusting. In fact, it was that bad, the seagulls were trying to smash their way in through our bathroom window. They were like, they're selling here, lads, I think we've got a fucking whale in there, I can smell it. It was absolutely revolting, so it was. I nearly never made it here the day. It's not because I didn't want to be here. Who would turn down an opportunity to Fringe? I've been suffering with toothache, and like everybody else, I've not got a dentist. And I'm not against NHS because I think there isn't that there's a lack of NHS dentists. There's plenty of them about. There's just a lack of NHS dentists that's willing to take on scumbag patients like myself that can't afford to pay for their treatment. And you ring them up and they've all got the same name. Your dentist, our dentist, your smile, my smile. Well, they want to take a leaf out of their own book because I've never met as big a bunch of miserable bastards when you ring them up. And I rang them up and I go, good afternoon, Chantel speaking, how may I help you? I said, are you taking on NHS patients there, Chantel? And she might as well have laughed and went, that was a fucking stupid, Mr. Sharpe. We're only taking on people that are minted, that can actually afford to pay for their treatment. But we do offer an emergency extraction service. I said, go on then, Chantel, over all of the dice here. How much is it for an emergency extraction? She says it's between £200 and £450. I says, I think you broke up there, Chantel. She says, no, it's between £200 and £400 for an emergency extraction. I says, I'm not looking to get extracted for a fucking war zone in a Chinook helicopter there, Chantel, for that price. I says, I think I'm going to have to give this a miss. And I thought, well, I'm a big hard Scotsman. I can take a bit of toothache. Fast forward 2 days later, there I'm in the living room floor and I've found religion. Jesus, God, help this toothache. I've even turned Muslim. Praise Allah, help, I need to cure this. And then I remembered, has any ever rang the NHS 111 emergency dental helpline? You'll know what I'm talking about here, then, sir. And the questions you get asked when you ring these up, you're not even guaranteed to get a dentist. It's like a job interview to see if you qualify to see the dentist. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share this with you because it is a true story. And I've actually got the questions that I was asked here, so if you don't mind, I'll share it with you. I rang up and she went, good afternoon, NHS Dental, emergency dentist, Doreen speaking, how may I help you? I says, I'll give you 3 fucking guesses, Doreen, as to why I've rang an emergency dentist. I says, my foot's killing us here, is there anything you can do, especially my big toe? She then says to us, are you calling because you're in pain? Are you calling because you're in pain? I said, no, but you're number off my mate, Doreen. He says your banter's fucking unbelievable. What's the crack, Doreen? Tell us a joke there. And then she says, there's no need for the sarcasm, Mr. Sharpe. I said, you fucking started it, Doreen. And then it just gets worse. She says, what's the temperature, love? I says, it's about 16 degrees out there, Doreen. I says, I'd still recommend wearing a jumper in the morning, though it's still a bit chilly. And that's when she got annoyed there. She says, no, the temperature in your face. I says, oh, you're talking about that, are you? I says, well, just imagine, Doreen, that somebody's got my head in a vice and they've poured petrol all over my face and they've set it on fire. I said, and then just to add insult to injury, Doreen, they've hooked my teeth up to a fucking car battery and they're sending electric shocks through my face. I said, the temperature's really high, Doreen. I'm in agony here. And then she says, are you taking anything for the pain? I says, yeah, Doreen, fucking long walks in the countryside listening to classical music. said, Doreen, let me put this in layman's terms for you so you can understand this. I said, just imagine the local smack rat, the local junkie, and he's selling all his worldly goods and he's run out of money and he's got nothing left to live for. In fact, he's on the verge of getting down on his knees and sucking you off for a tenner, Doreen. I said, that's the state I'm in, Doreen. I need fucking drugs. I says, I've had every drug off my neighbour here ending and all. I've had paracetamol, I've had cocodamol, tramadol. I says, and guess what's working, Doreen? Fuck all! And at that point, that's when she says to me, I think you qualify, Mr. Sharpe. Would you like to make your way up to the hospital and the dentist will see you there? Now, I've none against the NHS. Dentist, I use that word loosely, it made a kind of butcher shop vibe when I got up there. And it didn't help that a big fat fella came out with rosy cheeks and a big stripy pinny on covered in blood. He went, good afternoon, Mr. Sharpe, how may I help you? I said, oh, a pound of sausages and 2 pork chops, please. And he just pushed me down into a chair and he gave me 2 jacks in the side of my cheek. And that's when it hit us. I thought, how does he even know where the toothache is here? He's not even asked me that. He says, could you point in the general direction where the pain is? And he just started pulling teeth out willy-nilly. Now I tell you at the start there, this is a true story. So I've ended up, I've got 3 teeth out. And I've got a hole in the side of my face bigger than Bonnie Blue's fanny. So no, every cloud door, silver lining, only cost us 27 quid. Thanks very much everybody up in Stuart.
Good job, everyone! That's lovely. How do you